Good evening. Current events with DonArmando Robles. I'd like to salute my newest subscribers, nga Rosario, o nga amiga, ¿cómo está? Okay, Monzo. Just, well, I've been home from work for a few hours, but, you know, just maintaining. But I'm trying to actually make a topic about tonight because a lot of these rappers have passed on. Rest in peace to PNB Rock. I know that the whole city of Philadelphia is feeling it. And a lot of people, and it feels like to me, we're hearing the same narrative ever since long time ago, but I guess it's more prevalent now that you see most rappers who are actually getting passed on. All right, I'm back. Salute to Don Jose. I know that you're preparing for your stream at 8. I hope I could make it, but I guess I wouldn't. But my stream is really about how how it's the narrative nowadays to see a lot of rap artists lose their life. So, what can we do to either prevent or what is the cause of all these rappers dying? Is it because of the company that they keep? Is it because of the company they're signed to? Is it street politics? It could be all those things, or it could be certain people that have an agenda out there. So feel free to actually come up on the panel. Let's talk about this because it is actually despicable what's going on, and it's affecting a lot of people. And it's not only affecting in the United States rappers. You actually have battle rappers that actually passed away also from this violence. So, what can rappers do to have better security or to actually preserve their life when there's so many dangers lurking around? That's good, Don Jose. We might need a you might need we might need a stream on that because suicide has been an issue. Uh, well, it's a worldwide issue right now because there's a lot of stressors in this life. So that will be a good topic. All right. All right. All right. Anybody's welcome to come into the platform and talk. Hey, Georgia, how you doing? This is the link. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourselves?
I'm all right.
Yep, I just received your
Well,
message on Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like to drop out for a little bit. Well, not drop out, but drop
I
in.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, since you have like more of an expert opinion since you're being in California, when you was growing up, did this um obviously happen to ballers and maybe street people, or now in California, it just targeting rappers? Because a lot of people they think that it's just targeting rappers, but I just want to see if it's a California thing or it's it's a general thing that's happening in this day and age.
I think it's more of a general thing that's happening in this day and age. It's just if something happens to a rapper, it's just blown up all over the map just because of the fact that that person's a public figure and is widely known by so many people. So it just produces a different kind of effect and leaves people with a different kind of impression.
Yeah,
Kind of like with that whole the whole Nipsey Hussle controversy. So he was very big. He was known by millions. So it just produced just a different kind of impression and evoked a different kind of emotion in people too.
yes, and
Yeah.
it's like it's like I don't know, but I guess I've been seeing a lot of news outlets or whatever the case may be, and people that don't know about, I guess, the mannerisms or the I don't know, the customs of California. They're they're actually making up their own opinions. I can't really speak about California because you could only hear about what's happening, but you will not. I think that I would not know what's will be in the mix because if a person's either from there or just is tapped in with people around there just to see what the environment is like or why this is happening.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
then you yeah, go on.
yeah, yeah, and then it's like I can't really make any conclusions about this because a lot of people are actually saying that most of these artists, either if it's California or another place, which is not, I guess, not New York City or whatever the case may be, you're seeing most artists that have passed on were assigned to this one music group, Empire Distribution. So it's actually, I guess that company is actually having a bad rap. And since people who made their records and everything like that, even though I guess the plus side is that their royalties or their music right goes to their families, but at what point are we going to actually say that rappers are becoming an endangered species?
So don't necessarily think they're becoming an endangered species, but I would say is that the genre itself is deteriorating because back in the day it actually had a lot of good meaning. But nowadays it's just like the same old monotonous and repetitive stuff such as like twerking, how many girls you could score in a club, and just other just counterproductiveness too that even like a 10-year-old is starting to pick up on. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always been like explicit things in lyrics and even in rap, even during that time, but nowadays it's just been taken to a whole new level. So it still is a very successful genre. It still is producing millions upon millions every year. And because of all that money, it's going to come with a lot of power. So I would say it's far from being endangered. But I would have to say that just the message and what people are talking about and how it's portrayed now is very much deteriorating in just its quality and flavor.
I believe I believe in that also because it's like if you could even call it hip hop, you could see a lot of unoriginal things that's happening. I guess in my thing, people stealing each other's flows or whatever the case may be. Stuff that originally in the East Coast would not really happen because of I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
certain
it's
people
like
had to be in those times. But now
Hmm.
being an original is like so rare that it's actually being looked down upon, or you have to fit a certain image which is not that person. So it's like a lot of stuff that are being on broadcast, but it's like now, let's say for example, a person that's in the know, right? I could say my generation nobody knew about okay how much record sales you did or whatsoever the case may be, right? So now, if a person has like a projected record sale or anything like that, anybody or everybody could actually now look at your record sales as they do business stats. So it's it's actually interesting on how so advanced people have become during I guess during this time and age when
Which
it
is a
comes
very
to
completely like yeah, which is
the hip hop game or whatever the case may be.
I don't even think that hip hop today is even really remotely hip hop because hip hop, if we really dive down to its deepest core, the genre required, the artist to have meaning behind it, to have something that resonates
Yeah,
very well with somebody, and even have some edifying qualities to it. And since you're over there on the East Coast, you had Nas, you had a tribe called Quest, you had Marley Marl, you had KRS-One, you had, let's see who else, MC Shan, Houdini, I believe, and just the list goes on. But all of those artists actually incorporated a lot of meaningful and even edifying elements to their lyrics, especially with that one song, like, what was it? A War Tour, and then The Word Was Yours, and Love's Gonna Get You by KRS-One. So all of those songs were very meaningful and edifying, and were very poetic, and actually told a story that resonates very well
yeah,
with people. But what exactly resonates well with people in today's hip hop genre?
you had
Unless you're like the
all these
rapper Common, then that's a different story. But nowadays, it's just vain repetition. It's
yeah,
honestly things that you would describe as being quote unquote degenerate.
yes,
And last thing I forgot, you even had the movie filmed over there too. What was it? Oh yeah, Beat Street. That's another one.
yeah,
Beat Street. I don't really listen to a whole lot of rap or hip hop or even R&B nowadays, but again, if it is, it's just going to be from the time I was born, which was 1992. Somewhere around the late 80s, early 90s, where the genres were at their peak. But here and there, I will still check out something because even if it's music, even from the 2000s, it still carries a nostalgic quality to it.
yeah. It's like I'm, Yeah, when you actually talk about just I guess on all sides, it's like okay, right. I mean, I don't know what it is, but music in general is that artists that they're just put, and a lot of people who want to be internet sleuths are when it's a person that violently passes on, they always want to play like okay that they're the internet detectives or whatsoever. When the fact is they don't consideration who are the who are the culprits and what's the street culture behind that. We got Zacharias right here. Good
Hey,
evening.
Zach. If he's there.
Yeah, I mean, I know that sometimes they has a problem with the phone when he gets into StreamYard, so maybe that might be the case.
I can't stay long.
So it's like right now,
Yeah, no worries.
we don't know what's going on in the boardrooms, and I could say that yeah, we don't know what's going on in the boardroom, and we don't know what new happening is supposed to be when it comes to future music. That's why I don't really try to listen to the main stuff American because some of the rappers they're not lyrical, and if the few that are, those are the ones I listen to. But then I actually try to focus more on the Hispanic rap genre. I listen to rap from the Dominican Republic, Chile, Ecuador, some Argentinian rap, and on a few occasions I listen to Cuban and Mexican rap.
I'll be also honest with you, but there's even been a lot of like Chicano rap that I've really been enjoying too, especially if it's older school ones like Kid Frost, and then also those two guys who were
Yeah,
best known for that Back to the Motel song, which was In Too Deep, if you remember that.
yeah. I mean, the Chicano rap, like who I haven't heard in a long time, but he had like a nice song. I'm surprised it didn't blow up the way it did. Was that dude Lil Rob? I was like, I listened to him like when I first listened to him, it was that Mas Maiz with Nori and Big Mato and Nina Sky, right? So,
The
I,
Oh yeah, I
so
remember. Oh yeah, those two twin girls. Yeah, I remember them too.
yeah,
The Oh yeah, mi
so
canto. I remember that song. Yeah.
yeah, the original to me is like this. Even though the one with Daddy Yankee was good, I like the original one with Tego. So, but you won't but a lot of people will not find the original version with Tego because it's on rare. But as far from the OJ Canto, I met two of the two singers that was actually on it. I mean, I've seen Nori. The only time I seen Nori was in 2004, before that song came out. But I'm saying like after 2004, I'm actually cool with two of the artists, and I talk to them time by time. Gemstar and Big Mato. I talk to I talk to Gemstar sometimes, but I haven't spoke to him really because the last time I spoke to him is because his sister passed in the Dominican Republic because of bad surgery. So I was actually trying to post around that the doctor that attended to his sister, which led to her her untimely passing. I was trying to spread that around towards the Dominican artists that I know because the doctor has a history of having botched surgeries and people passing away. And then I guess when that guy has a history of too many botched surgeries, he moves to another town in the Dominican Republic and commits the same acts. And that's actually very prevalent in the Dominican Republic right now. Either a person gets an infection or a person actually dies on the table.
Like what kind
Oh,
of or which kind of infection?
I mean, infections can vary. Like for example, if a person, I'm not a medical expert, but I know if you don't close a wound right or anything like that, I guess an infection can happen. Or if a person does anything that he was not supposed to do as far as the plastic surgery, a person could actually die on the table. Because I can't really say the specifics because I'm neither a medical expert nor I went to medical school. But I know that ever since Dominican Republic beat out Colombia as the plastic surgery as the place to get cheap plastic surgery, there have been a lot of deaths over the years over this over over this procedure. When a person who's from the United States, they think that they could go to the Dominican Republic because it's cheaper. The next thing you know, they happen to pass away in the Dominican Republic because of a botched surgery, or the guy who was doing the plastic surgery is not really medically licensed to begin with. And there's always and between that, there's always medical malpractice. So there's a lot of foreigners that actually pass away in the Dominican Republic because of that. And a lot of these doctors in the Dominican Republic are not even held accountable for their crimes.
So it's like medical malpractice, like a prevalent thing over there.
I guess now because of this plastic surgery, but all over, I could actually say yes, because certain people they might attend they might attend, I guess, a person of the local population. I'm just saying in anything, not just only plastic surgery. If a person is hurt or whatsoever the case may be, but then over the lines, you got certain people who die because of medical malpractice. Either they think that that person might be good or whatever, but then that person might have had a heart attack because they might have put the wrong liquid or how should I say something actually happened with the doctor not checking that their patient's health. So that's where a lot of medical malpractice happen in the Dominican Republic, but very few doctors are actually held accountable for it.
Yeah, it's almost like the same case here because I believe about 45,000 people die annually either because of medical malpractice or they just weren't like sufficiently insured or underinsured or just not insured at all. So there's that. But at least
Yeah,
the dirty doctor would still be held accountable here as opposed to maybe the ones who are not being held accountable in the DR.
yeah,
But yeah, there are a lot of like crooked doctors out there too, just as there are with
yes, they are.
many like crooked police officers too.
Yeah,
But it's just one thing is just more likely to draw a lot more attention as opposed to what goes on in the medical field.
Yeah.
But I think that the level of energy should still be the same for corrupt doctors as there are corrupt police officers too, because we already know like what happens if a dirty cop does something dirty, but then oftentimes the dirty doctor in his story either just gets shoved under the rug, even though that doctor played a huge role in killing a person when that person didn't even have to die.
Yeah, like the Michael Jackson case when that doctor went to trial and he got convicted. So it's like,
Yeah, but it just wasn't really a big trial, though. It wasn't so national, and the level of energy just was not the same for that as it would be for somebody like Derek Chauvin and George Floyd.
yeah.
It's called selective outrage, is what it is. But
I
I think
mean, it
that there
really
always
is.
needs to be a balance. But go on.
I mean, if you actually look at it, I'm just saying, like, in the history of the United States, they always have I mean, worldwide, it always has selective outrage. But then you have some crimes that are not even known or nationally known in that country. But then, like, say if it happened to a very important person or somebody who is reputable, then it's like, oh, we feel sad. We got to get these people. But then if it's a person that who is innocent, but yet something bad happens to them, certain people they'll just try to, as you said, they'll try to sweep it under the rug or act like it never happened.
Yeah, and to me, though, it's just a huge problem and just the whole amount of selective outrage that there is, because it only just says that people are out just to clout chase and just to make money off of a big case or something that they know is going to draw in a lot of attention and a lot of controversy. That's what people do to chase clout and gain clout. But somebody such as
I
Michael
mean,
Jackson's case and the doctor is not going to get you the clout that you're seeking. But go on.
I mean, to me,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying.
Go
Like
ahead.
cloud, like cloud chasing, right? Okay, for all these people who are cloud chasing, right? And they're doing whatever the most darnest thing that they will not do regularly for clout. What do they think is going to be the end goal? Or better yet, what would this clout chasing would would benefit them? That's what I want to know. Because I've seen a lot of people doing all this chasing, but they're not reaping the benefits of what they're doing. So it actually is mind boggling to me.
So, man, I mean, I've been there, done that. What it's about is getting power, dominance. It's about appealing to your own self aggrandizement, getting your ego stroked, and trying to be a VIP of society. The human condition has always been like that from the dawn of man. It's just, and nowadays, that kind of stuff is just manifesting itself in the weirdest ways.
I mean, like for example, I can understand the part of being VIP, but my thing is like to do whatsoever for clout. And if they think that they're gonna at least go into high society, I guess if you're a person goes to high society or what is deemed high society, I don't think cloud is the answer because I know that certain people at the end of the day, if a person has clout and they do not have any brains to match with that, they will not last in their fame or the place that they want to be in. I guess the elite or whatever you may say, they will not be in that. They will not be living an elite lifestyle for long. So I don't know what type of power a person is gonna get from clout chasing to begin with. If they never had any power to begin with.
So it's usually people who have these delusions of grandeur. And you oftentimes see that a person like that isn't going to get very far with their clout chasing behavior. And that oftentimes they will just end up getting knocked off whatever throne that they are trying so hard to assume. And we people start to see them for who they are, which are usually grifters, fraudsters, and people who are clearly just trying to either monetize or capitalize off of people's emotions. Because humans were very emotionally driven. And if we can pick at whatever sensationalized event or story and use it to our advantage, it'll work in a moment. But then people are going to start to wake up to the BS and start to see it for what it is.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean, I'm not a Buddhist, but one thing that I do agree with what Buddha said is that man's worst enemy is going to be the ego. His own ego is his worst enemy than anything else. And clout chasing is
yeah,
rooted in the person's ego driven nature, narcissistic nature, and self aggrandizing nature. That's what you even see in a lot of these like social justice movements or civil rights wannabes nowadays, BLM activists, and just about everybody from all sides of the political spectrum.
yeah. My thing is about the BLM. Even though I'm a half Afro Hispanic, I was never with it to begin with because I could tell a person, yeah, I'm Black Lives Matter, but I'm not the organization because there was certain stuff that I've read, but I guess in the beginning, I was actually saying the same thing because Lord Jamar was saying the same thing. There was like, oh, what do you think about Black Lives Matter? I mean, and he actually said it in an interview. It's not it's not our movement. We didn't. It wasn't organic. It wasn't our movement to begin with. And people that do not know better, they want to think that all African Americans support the BLM movement. When the fact is, this could be anything but.
Yeah, and it just to me, in my opinion, it seems as though many of those leaders just really want to keep black people in their position or just in the position that they're in because if they really start to see advances from the collective, then they're going to lose their clout and their power because BLM has a net worth of millions. It's a multi-millionaire global network. But I wonder why they're never really putting forth any programs into really trying to increase just the reading comprehension and just like the math and reading comprehension skills or just about any kind of valuable skill that's among black men and women because the average black man, let's just be real here, reads and has the comprehension level of an eighth grader. That is a bit of a problem. But I don't ever see this network, this multi-million dollar network, investing in any kind of money or funds into programs to solve that at all. It's almost as if you want it to stay like that so that you can have a little bit of power. that can easily be knocked off you in a hot minute.
I mean,
They may say that, no, that's not true, and la-di-da, but actions are always going to speak louder. So I have a huge problem with that.
yeah, I mean, I have a huge problem with that also because it's like you see all these activists, right? With their respective movements or whatever, and some of these act, and then I was just watching certain program, and they were saying that these paid activists they actually call the police or whatever the case may be. I guess when they're going to protest or whatever, and if they get arrested and stuff, they get out. It's like they don't spend a few days in jail; they just get right out. Whereas certain people who have a grassroots movement will not get that same respect. So my thing is, as culture and everything like that, what organic movements are going to actually be sufficed in the United States? Would it be the BLM? Would it be, I guess, this new movement called the FBA or ADOS? Or is it going to be older schools of ideas that's going to prevail, like the Moors? I'm in the Moorish temple, the Hebrew Israelites, the Nation of Islam, um, the Nubians. I mean, you have all these ideological factions, and this is my case because I'm just an Afro Latino, but I'm saying within the African American collective, you have all these schools of ideology, but they can't just agree on one thing. So I'm seeing that there's a lot of conflict in that ever since the dawn of the 20th century. But that's just my opinion, though.
Actually, you are actually right about that, Don, especially in an American sense. Because I think just the individualistic nature of the US has brought out everybody's terrible colors and has brought out everybody's worst. Because everybody wants to be the next Jesus or Moses for whatever cause they are now claiming to represent. And even within the BLM global network, everything's not going to always be peaches and cream in those circles. They're actually decentralized and there are chapters all throughout the country, and they do not always get along. But if they really want to truly unite and get along on a longer term margin, they're going to have to establish a hierarchy, and they're going to have to structure that hierarchy very efficiently so that the movement can actually succeed. Because if anything, to any kind of rule of any kind of well-organized social movement can have all these different factions all over the place, even if they are very similar. You don't unite with other very similar cause. You guys try to basically consolidate all into one hierarchical structure so that can truly succeed. But that's just not really what these people do.
Yeah, it's like
That's why, yeah. And that's why, like, everybody else and those that they're claiming to advocate for, or those that they are just trying to virtue signal for, continue to be in the position. Because you have everybody coming on board trying to be Moses, trying to be Jesus, just coming in here with that Messiah complex, everybody. And that is just going to lead to nothing more but internal conflict, strife, and bitterness among everybody, and just resentment and people branching off to do their own thing. And even some people, even in the community that I'm a part of, I guess you can call it the golden sphere, which, I mean, I don't want to claim that now, but just the mixed race sphere, as I will call it. You even have a lot of people trying to do that in there. It goes hand in hand with just about every social movement that's trying to start up. Everybody comes in with a Messiah complex.
I mean, yeah, I agree because it was a couple of months ago that I don't know if it was a couple months ago, or maybe a month or 2 months ago. Um, Jose, you went up and did a stream about that. Well, I guess something happened within that community that certain people got doxxed or whatever the case may be. That's how um Hazel explained it. And a lot of the people who are of that golden spear or whatever the case may be, um, I heard a lot of them just went to what is that? What is that place called? I know I have it. It's not Discus. It's let me check. Discord.
Yeah, I'm in Angry Biracial's Discord, and yeah, me and him are close,
I mean,
and we've
yeah.
even talked about it too.
I joined him. I do not really know about it, but I listen to time from time to him. I'm like, he actually makes sense.
Yeah, like me and him have spoken on the phone about these issues too, since like we really are working together, and we have a petition going on too, just to get us to finally have a distinct category for our folk. But
Right.
oh yeah, he basically like regurgitates the points that I've been trying to put out there even before I even met him. Is that you have people in here who come in here with the Messiah complex, or they come around because they want a trauma bond, or they just really want to show off the controversy and just the drama that they are addicted to because that's all that they know, stemming from childhood. And we see why these people never go anywhere.
Yeah. It's gotten to a point that I I don't know, but I'm seeing what I'm seeing that the Messiah's complex is actually destroying a lot of movements.
And you see that a lot even in the BLM movement too, and just about any movement too. And it's not even going to be just a left wing or right wing issue. Now, most definitely, the right wing is full of people who come in with the Messiah complex. The conservatives who do that come in there always wanting to prove how they can truly be the best image for America because they're advocating for my free speech, my rights, my constitutional rights, my gun rights, and all this other stuff. But you see how very disorganized and very incompetent they are in terms of running a movement. The left, on the other
Like,
hand, is more structured, but they too have a bunch of people coming in there trying to show how virtuous they can be and how loving they can be, whereas they're just out and about treating people, especially black people, like mascots.
I mean, yeah, because it's like to a point the left, right? And I could actually say as far as culture and such, I was I used to talk to my ex girlfriend about this, but she always used to say that, oh, I was how should I say, hating, and I shouldn't talk on this because I am Dominican or whatever the case may be. But when I talk to other African Americans about this, most African Americans don't watch BET anymore because BET used to be about black empowerment. I used to tell them this is around the time like 2007, 2010, when it used to be just about, this is when it was the reality show era. And I did not like it. So I stopped. So when it was 2010 to 2011, I stopped looking at reality shows because to me, why is it that I should watch a reality show when it does not base my reality? Or it just have a group of people arguing for no apparent reason, just to get fame or how should I say clout for being amoral and stupid.
Yeah, like speaking about like you said to like from the early 20 teens, you probably remember that cringy show. What was it? Bad Girls Club. Remember that?
Yes, that was the stupidest show ever. I'm like, no, for
It's
real though.
Bad Girls Club. We all remember that.
So my thing is that what is so bad about you? Okay, that you're a woman, you curse, you beat up other females, or you get beaten up, you cry, you complain, you go around and plot on people. You're supposed to get paid for it.
Yep. And also there was Snooky too. I know you remember her.
Oh,
Snooky and her
oh,
show.
don't. I mean, I stopped watching it when it was like that dude who calls himself the situation. That guy always get beat up. I'm like, how the heck you a tall guy? You were semi-muscular, but yet you got beaten up every time when you acted drunk or whatever the case may be. The only person I could actually say was the level head person was Paulie D. He was the one that became more successful than anything. Now you see that guy who calls himself the situation saying that he's going to rehab and that's all you hear about him. Rehab. So some reality shows was good, like Bully Beatdown. But even then that guy fell off because of his fights and struggles with alcohol and whatsoever. So
But at least the reality shows within at least the 13-year period have become very cringe. Especially the aforementioned ones I pointed out too. And you
yeah,
even said yourself that the Bad Girls Club one from back in the day was like the stupidest one. And we already know it's all scripted too. Because I always
I
thought
mean,
that the fights in it were horribly choreographed.
okay, when it was real fights, yeah, but then after a while, the fights is like you can tell it's fake. First of all, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're in the hood, right, a beatdown will be more brutal than they show on TV. Let's keep it real.
Of course.
Second, second, what are these women fighting about? Oh, that she dissed me. I gotta beat her up. She went up and have the same nails as I. She's a copier. I can't wait to scratch her eyes out. I'm like,
you sound like one of those girls now from Bad Girls
oh,
Club.
I know. They're like, oh my God, you have the same beamer as me. Now you're biting. I'm like, shut up. Really? I
See
don't
what
like
I
her
mean?
because or this is my favorite one, which you know that I guess is ignorant, but you gotta admit it does happen. And I don't like her because she's another race. I'm gonna fight her. I'm like, okay, we're living in the 1960s now. Actually, thought it was the 2000s. And then America's Top Model was a joke. Every time I used to get pissed off at my ex every time she put that on. I'm like, you went up and took off my Spike TV to watch this crap?
Thankfully, I never really invested myself in those reality shows because they really weren't really my cup of tea anyway.
I mean, I can. The worst ones that I still think that's in syndication is Big Brother. Or the foreign Big Brothers, right? So my thing is that okay, I guess it's supposed to be people who are famous and how to live under one roof or whatever. But my thing is, if if you don't live with that type of person or whatever the case may be, you're gonna you're gonna how should I say? You're gonna lose a bunch of money for what? I just don't get it.
I do, though. It's just you just have a lot of people who are willing to do as much as they can, even like the most outlandish thing, for a little bit of clout and attention. If they can get that little bit of a semblance of clout and attention, then it doesn't matter whether they lose money or not.
Yeah,
It's like nothing else matters other than just a semblance of clout and attention.
yeah. And it reminds me of a ludicrous song that I used to listen to. It was like, "How low can you go?"
How low can you? Oh, yeah, I remember that song. Yeah, I used to listen to him a lot back in the day too, and I have his first album as well.
Yeah,
But
I
he's
mean,
also within like the Dirty South genre too. But yeah, go on.
yeah. I mean, I just only listen to him and Ti because they're the only people I can understand.
Like
I'm from I lived in Gulfport, but I guess in my era because I guess I was I guess in my when I was growing up, I didn't really keep it a buck. And when I came to New York, that's so that's how it was. And after a while, that's why I start hearing about the Memphis rappers and the Atlanta rappers. I was like, okay,
No, I'd say like a southern rapper that I have the most respect for would be Master P because he's not out there for all the clout. He's actually out there because he wants to see his community improve from within. Because he's talked about that, hey, he grew up during a time where New Orleans was a murder capital. He had also lost his brother to gun violence and he was about to go down that path as well. And he's talked about how, hey, to keep it real, in all these major black cities, black on black gang warfare is through the roof, and how even kids have even gotten in the crossfire. So he's now giving back to those communities. So he's now has sponsored programs to actually help black kids. He has distributed like free backpacks and just about every any kind of school resource you can think about, because that's just how much that he's truly in it to see his community change from within. He's not in it to see his community stay stagnant, which is what you see most of these leaders doing, especially black leaders. Got to be honest about that. But somebody like him, he's actually trying to make a huge difference, and I can actually respect that as like somebody who is a rapper from the dirt South, or dirty South is what they call it.
yeah. And it's like to the point that that now that you have certain people who I guess for some reason they want to try to talk down on Master P because of I don't know, like how much he earns or whatever. But yet he was the first one that actually did it on his own. Even
Yeah, he
East
could.
Coast,
Hmm.
even East Coast rappers couldn't even do what he could do.
Exactly. 'Cause that guy started from nothing. He moved from New Orleans to Richmond, California, which is also around the area I was growing up in. He was living in a rundown apartment building while really trying to make sales with the No Limit Records, which was just a record shop at that time in Richmond.
Right.
He struggled at first. Him, his wife at the time, and his first son Romeo. And then just from there, he started just learning the ropes of the industry. And then all of a sudden, he really moved up the food chain. Now that guy has like I think a net worth of well over $100 million after starting from absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So someone like that gets a tremendous amount of credit. And now that person is
But
now
then
really trying to improve the community from within. Says a lot. But what's up?
the I call this guy.
I think you're breaking up a little bit, Don.
Yeah. And it's to the point that I see that this guy's an agitator.
And now can't hear you, bud. You're breaking up.
I guess we're back now. As I
I
was
can
saying,
I can hear you now. It's better.
you, all right. As I was saying, you're seeing certain people who I guess haven't been that haven't done half the things Master P has done with his life and career. Tried it down all the time. One of the guys who I actually call an agitator that does this with a lot of hip hop artists or hip hop impresarios is that guy. What's his name? Whack 100. He says what he says, but has zero or no proof to back what he's saying. And he's been called out a lot of times, been assaulted, but yeah, he's still being a molder mouth. I'm actually to I'm actually thinking to call that guy as that gossip talker Wendy Williams, minus her disease though.
I've heard of Wendy Williams, but I don't know her that well enough to really say much about her.
Yeah. I mean, when growing up, she was like she was the gossip queen of New York. I mean, on the airwaves. It was even to the point that she actually got beat up online. No, she got beat up on the air. I mean, by Angie Martinez because she was reporting something that she had no business to report. Well, she actually aired out the relationship between Angie Martinez and Q-Tip at the time. So after that, she had a lot of problems since then, and she has sparked a lot of controversy. Now you have this guy Whack 100 who comes out of nowhere. This the accomplishments of Tupac, Nipsey Hussle, etc., etc., and he thinks he's going to gain a prize when the fact is certain people have backed out, and certain people stop backing him up anymore because they see that he's actually a liability.
Welcome back.
Hey Zach, how you doing?
Okay. Okay.
Welcome back.
Okay.
All right.
I'm here. Can you, we have connection issues. Sorry.
I can hear you.
All
I can
right.
hear you just
Yeah,
fine.
we hear you.
Hold on. It's uploading. Just a moment, y'all. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Gracias. Thank y'all. So y'all was talking about Master P?
Yeah,
we were
because
earlier.
because the main topic tonight is actually what about these hip hop murders? What can we do to stop it? What's the underlying cause of these hip hop murders?
I know what it
And
is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You the host. Sorry.
So we want to hear your theories or your knowledge, Zacharias, about that, because I know that you have a lot of knowledge behind that, and
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Hold on. So you said that you want to hear what I had to say about the murders? Those insurance
Yes.
policies. Those insurance policies. You know, right?
Mm-hmm.
They make a living on, and it's satanic sacrifices. It's Illuminati type, Masonic type of stuff. I'm reading about that because that's what you trying to get me on here, and I've been behind on school. My professor online is being lean with me, so I'm trying to get everything the paper done. Yeah.
I hear you.
So yeah, the whole Akaramba video, I think that was a satanic sacrifice for Tiger, because as I'm reading this book called "The Program to Kill" by David McGowan, I'm using one of my references.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing. So I'm trying to do paperwork on the Candy Man, the Caucasian man that killed boys and young men here in Houston. One of the accomplices was a teenager. So I'm doing a paper on that in my logic class, and I'm reading that book about the program to kill, and it tells you about Charles Manson. It talks about Dean Corll, that's the white man that the Candyman was. Talk about John Wayne Gacy. Talk about all these serial killers, Richard Ramirez, and they had access to Satanism. And in the book, it talks about the Charles Manson race war thing. Remember, he was trying to start a race war.
Yeah,
And
which he's convinced that he was given a message from the Beatles is Helter Skelter.
Right. So he was trying to make the killers look like a race war when it wasn't. So I kind of see that in this whole Akaramba song with Tiger, because Gazi Shemi, the Arab a guy that owns Empire. Rumor has it, just to be safe, that he sacrificed his artists like Excision, King Von, Young Dolph. I don't know how Aaliyah was involved with them because Leah died in 2001. But that's the reason why that I'm thinking that this whole rappers getting killed is Santana sacrifices, because half the folks that own the industry are singers. And you mentioned Master P. People look at him about that Travis Scott thing, because before Travis Scott came to perform, Master P performed. He said, we see it at the other world, something like that. And that's like a Santana saying. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening. I am.
I am.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh,
So
where are you actually from, Zach? If it's okay for me to ask.
where I'm from?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Houston. I'm from H-Town.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. I suspected.
Yeah, I'm from H-Town. Speaking of H-Town, the singer, the group, they think that Dino was killed. Because Dino, one of the guys from H-Town, they were saying that he because it's mysterious that he had a car accident and he died, and there was no news coverage. It was some Latino man that hit him, but they reported years later. When Selena died, Leah died, Whitney Houston, everybody's all, even Queen Elizabeth death, which is, I ain't trying to be evil, but I don't care for Queen Elizabeth, what she did to people. And I like to bring up my ancestry. I got English in my blood too, Black, French, Spanish, Creole, English, Irish, but I would show more respect to Princess Diana. I wouldn't show respect to Queen Elizabeth because she was evil. All that glam and glitter was just a cover, but behind closed doors, she was evil, and she was behind all the murders and deaths and genocide and causation and stuff. So when she died, I'm like, who cares? So, but
Yeah, I'm very indifferent to just her passing. I'm not going to spit on her death, but it's always been something that I've just been avoiding, though, because everybody on my Facebook has either been deleting each other and just lashing out on each other over her death. So that's just an area that I'm going to even avoid.
I mean, me personally, I just think like it was just funny to me. Like it was just maybe a few hours after everybody heard the passing of Elizabeth, right? Of Queen Elizabeth. That I don't know how, but I've heard real stories of guys that just went up and made a Elizabeth pack, and certain drug dealers gave a discount, I guess, to the addicts in Europe, cocaine and heroin, like 13% off or something like that, just because the Queen passed. I was like, okay, I know that drug dealing is a $1 billion industry, if you could even call it that. But to go and say, hey, we're going to give you 13% off of your cocaine today, just because Queen Elizabeth died. God save the king. Now go around and use your drugs. To me, I just think that's just very disingenuous. Like you're serving me poison, so therefore you're gonna give me 13% off just because the Queen of England passed away. Half the people in Britain don't even care for the Queen. Like they're like if you actually look at their anthem, God Save the Queen, right? And Freedom Ring, it kind of actually sounds the same. But then again, America has so many songs, it's not even funny. I couldn't even keep up with it after I was in fourth grade. So that's my view about it. And in New York is worse. Nobody even sings their national anthem like that. I mean, for America. If you ask a regular person in New York, hey, have you heard of the national anthem? Nobody knows that. I'm just keeping it honest. And then if I did know the national anthem, I'll sing it badly. So therefore, I could actually get more clout. So another thing I'm about to ask.
Let's
With
hear it.
these life insurance policies, Zacharias, I mean, why is it that they have all these they go to this one distribution, and it seems that PNB is the fourth artist that have passed on and was linked to this Empire distribution because it was Mo 3, it was King Von, Young Dolph, and now it's PNB Rock. And then his passing actually came right after that rapper Pat State, or I think he was a battle rapper, but then he got stabbed in Canada. So I'm trying to see like what is really the trend, because there's more rappers and underground rappers that are actually passing. So what's your take on that?
Oh, where's JoJo?
I don't know. I hope he, I, I hope it's not on connectivity issues. So let me check.
But yeah, I couldn't hear everything because the communication. I'm like I'm in a hotspot and it's messing up too. Because remember I have an issue with Wi-Fi at home, so I'm using a hotspot on my laptop. I didn't know I had a hotspot on my phone until they told me. So that's why I'm using hotspot for school
Yeah,
because I'm trying to get everything taken care of. But yeah,
yeah. Sometimes
uh,
it's a dead spot in my room also.
for school 'cause I'm trying to get.
Okay. All right. Just a little bit. Let's see something. All right, I'm back. So I guess I seen I guess my two panelists were knocked off. I hope they come back because I'm still on. So let's see how it does. Open Topics with DonArmando. I'll have another segment. Good night.